What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. We're focusing on the big news of the day, of the season, of the last few years, really. I mean, one of the most monumental free agent moves in NHL history, with John Tavares taking his talents to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Finally, the fans in Ontario get their homecoming, as every guy from Ontario dreams of playing for the Leafs. Yeah, until they realize what kind of dog shit organization the Leafs had been for decades, or at least a decade anyway. But now with what Brendan Shanahan and to a large degree Lou Lamoriello put together the last 3-4 years, they're a free agent destination. And Tavares took the 7 years, $77 million to go back to his home province and help deliver a Stanley Cup to the Leafs. And there's so many different angles to this. It's one of the, again, largest, in terms of ripple effects around the league with players switching teams in free agency. I mean, I've talked about it a few times. I mean, Hossa twice, Chara going to the Bruins, and Savard the same way. Parise and Suter. There's been big time free agent moves, but hockey guys tend to stay put and or get moved without having a say in the matter. Obviously, that's not the case here, and Tavares joins a pretty stacked group of Maple Leafs forwards. Him and Austin Matthews down the middle are going to be a pretty formidable duo. It's pretty much been insinuated that he's going to play with Mitch Marner, even though Matthews wants to play with Marner, which I think is going to be a further pissing match involving Mike Babcock, because, well, everything has to be a pissing match when Mike Babcock's involved. And then Matthews and Nylander are going to play together. And I'm just going to say this as an aside, if I'm a team, if the Nylander negotiations, because he's a restricted free agent, get testy or ugly, if I'm a team, I'm not afraid to offer sheet William Nylander. Again, offer sheets are one of the rarest things in the game. But, for the Bruins' perspective, you get to fuck up Toronto's cap, or you get a really good player. And they did the same thing with Kessel once upon a time. They didn't offer sheet him, but Brian Burke was being a fuckboy about it, because Brian Burke can't do anything normal. And the Bruins ended up essentially robbing, I don't say robbing Toronto, because Kessel's a player, but you got two really good young players via the draft in Tyler Seguin and Dougie Hamilton, both of which are building blocks for the future of the Boston Bruins. LOL, JK, as the kids say. But, that's a slight aside with Nylander. But Toronto right now, them and Tampa, the two favorites to win the Cup, according to Vegas, 8-1 each. I still think there's questions abound on Toronto's defense. They're going to open next season. Morgan Riley, we all know, is the real deal. Hainsey's a good old veteran. Gardner can play. I like Connor Carrick's game. Zaitsev's shown he can be an effective NHL player. It's those five, and then with Travis Dermott, who had a really good AHL playoff run and looked good with the Leafs last year. I mean, that's your six going into the season. I mean, there's a huge drop off after Morgan Riley, so that's going to be an area to watch and see what happens. That's the one issue. I do like Freddie Anderson in that. They're obviously one of the deepest teams in the league up front right now, and they're going to be looking to move Matt Martin in the next few weeks, as he's already been paid his bonus. So, see what happens on that front if the future Mr. Esiason ends up elsewhere other than Toronto this season. But Nazem Kadri is your third-line center. It's pretty fucking good. So that's Toronto's perspective. From the Islanders' perspective, I don't know what more the fans wanted out of JT. Oh, he should have been traded at the deadline, yada, yada, yada. Well, you know what? He didn't know what he was going to do. And he gave that organization everything he had for 9 fucking years. And Garth Snow was too much of an idiot to properly build around him. And you put Lou Lamoriello on the job a month ago. And, undo 9 years of ineptitude to keep, arguably, I'd say the best player since Mike Bossy in the fold, and instead of going elsewhere to greener pastures when he's got full say in the matter. And Lou had an uphill battle, and the fact that, again, in a weird way, Lou helped make this Toronto team the destination to be. I mean, him, Kyle Dubas, and obviously Brendan Shanahan. So, again, just a really, really weird situation. I understand Islanders fans being upset, but if you're burning Tavares' jersey because he should have taken a trade at the deadline, then you know what? I hope you're in the jersey while you're lighting it on fire, because you're an asshole. I don't ever fault guys for doing what's best for them in free agency and through trades. I mean, these guys are players, and these guys are human beings, and they've got to do what's best for them. And Tavares judged staying on the island for the duration of the season was in his best interest, and he judged going back to Ontario via free agency was in his best interest. So, Islanders fans, I can understand being upset, but don't blame JT, blame Garth Snow. This is all Garth Snow's fault. I mean, the other I guess weird thing is, had they taken William Nylander over Michael Dalcol in that 2014 draft, or had they taken fucking Philip Forsberg over Griffin Reinhart in 2012? These are all the questions that, had one of these draft picks gone a little bit differently, are we having the same discussion? Is that enough to really make this team, to have made this team a little bit better and more of an attractive destination for him to stay? I don't know. That's gonna be. There's a lot of what ifs with this team throughout Tavares' tenure with the Isles, and I think again Garth Snow has to take a good long hard look in the mirror and be like, I created this bed, and now we're gonna lay in it. As a Bruins fan, wanted him to come here. Didn't get too high or too low on it. Wasn't exactly putting all my eggs in the Tavares basket, but it would have been nice to see him come to the hub of hockey and chase a title. But it's cool to just get in the room with him. That's always it's never good when a high end free agent doesn't sign with your team, but they're in the room with them. They've got plenty to be have plenty to be optimistic about. So not exactly beating myself up over that, but again, would really like to have had JT in the black and gold next year. So it's going to be a interesting year for the Leafs, because they might get some media attention just a bit. The fans and journalists around Ontario might have some things to say and some expectations. So never a dull moment with hockey. And I'll tell you, JT going home gives us one of the more intriguing storylines for the 2018-2019 NHL season, which is still 90 days away. Anyway, that's all I got. This episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the off season and beyond. Later, guys.